Movie Time is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center, 1550 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. Further details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.com.
The award-winning It's Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to the shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
I'm Wayne Miller.
And this is...
It's Movie
It's
Time.
Movie Time. Wayne, is there any reason for Kim Jong-un, the president of North Korea, to be upset by the interview?
He should be.
He really?
He rightfully should be. But for a country, what's so interesting is all the hype that this got, and particularly the major distribution arms and exhibition places, saying, oh no, for the fear of... Now, here's a country, my God, they show one of these thermal maps or whatever of that peninsula and how well lit South Korea is, but North Korea is virtually dark. These people... they wouldn't be able to launch some sort of attack outside of maybe a cyber attack. But people were impressed that I was putting my patriotism on the line, my life on the line, to show that I was not going to back down from fear. Well, the emperor of the hermit kingdom.
And you are truly a patriot. But there's no reason for anybody to put his life on the line, since it's all over the place now online. For instance, YouTube has just picked it up.
Yeah.
So it's going. There's an interesting marketing spin-off on all of this.
Yeah.
That now that YouTube has picked it up for about $5.99 if you want to rent it. It's apparently opening the way. It was just in the press, opening the way for more of this kind of application on such a popular place as YouTube.
Right, and to still get some money, because people know that there's going to be bootleg copies out there, and it's going to be downloaded for free, and of course, the hackers, the Guardians of Peace, I love that name, those cyber hackers that not only this movie, but a number of other ones, they released it out there so people could download it for free. And I tell you, I wish there was a better movie to put my life on the line,
But
for
look
a terrorist attack.
This is vintage Seth Rogen.
Oh, yes.
Filled with potty humor.
Oh,
and
the guy's very good because he wrote it and co-wrote it.
Yes, he co-wrote. And, and Kim Jong-un is savaged in this, except that he's played by a very charming Randall Park. Yeah. And you as Dave, who is played by James Franco, just a bit over the top.
Very, very over the top. But you're right, in a way, a sympathetic dictator.
Right.
Yeah, that I kind of like the guy.
So he is being interviewed by a very prominent TV talk show host, somewhat vacant, played by Franco.
Bringing it to you live.
Yeah. And like all of us who are duped by the media, the president is a master of manipulating them.
Yes.
So the movie very well shows how he seduces Dave, the TV talk show host, and us into making us think this is a very charming guy.
Yes, he is. He had me sold until then, his true colors. That's unfortunately for me when the humor. And I really laughed. I laughed through this movie.
I can imagine. I wish I were there with you.
Theater, the people were laughing and just twirling because talk about potty humor. Oh,
at
geez,
one point,
sophomore. Wow.
At one point, the dictator soils his pants. They don't have a problem showing it. So you can imagine.
That was just one of a number of scenes like that I would not, if my mother was alive, I would not bring her to this movie. I'd be embarrassed.
On the other side, on the much cleaner side, I love the moment when the CIA approaches these two. They're going to interview him. Rogen plays his producer. And the CIA approaches them and asks them to take out the president.
Yes.
And they must have to take a minute or two. Right. They have to take a minute or two to decide if they may take him out for dinner. I love that.
No, take him out. Well, you know what that reminded me of? And I sat there in this movie because I had just seen a documentary recently on Bing Crosby. And in a way, particularly that one scene reminded me of the old Hope and Crosby road shows.
Yes.
and Road to Bali and Road to Utopia and Zanzibar and all these road shows where they would go to some exotic locale, uh, wine and dine a woman. Dorothy. There's no Dorothy Lamour in a salon,
right.
but this very fetching actress.
Sook is the name of her character.
Yes.
Played by Diana Bang. How good is that? I love it.
But and
she's a little pistol. She is your kind of lady.
I like her. I like her quite a bit.
One of the funniest scenes has to be when Rogan is trying to make love with her.
Yes, yeah.
He has a strip on his hand which is meant to assassinate the president, and he's got to hold that up.
Be more erotic. No hands. No hands. I know. With this, and of course, they play so many things for laughs that were really funny. And when Rogan's outside, and he's sneaking around to recover some more poison because they had messed up the first time, and so the U.S. had to send some little missile down. Of course. He had to hide the missile, and we won't say on the air where he had to hide it.
Yeah,
but very funny. This tiger out there stalking him. He says, "I'm going to fight the tiger," and the CIA is telling him through an earpiece, thousands of miles away, "No, the tiger will kill you."
and talking about that capsule that they have to hide in their nether regions. It's such a phallocentric film. There's so many phallic objects.
Yeah, quite a bit. But back to the old Hope Crosby, and they did this science fiction movie about the end of the world recently, Franco and Rogan, and I thought very good. I mean, of course, that was a little bit. Classier, even though that it did have a lot of
more restrained. I think it was called In the End.
Something like that. Oh, how appropriate.
Yeah.
And but anyhow, the beginnings of I think these two and Franco, of course, is kind of a Renaissance man, and does a lot of different films and does, I think, stage and writes and paints and going for numerous graduate degrees and all that.
Yeah.
Rogan's kind of the schlub next door, type. Like in that movie, The Neighbors, that we reviewed months back.
One of the interesting spin-offs of this is that apparently North Korea had hacked Sony. And one of the things they found in the emails that they had hacked is that Rogan made $8 million on this movie, and Franco made $6 million. So it was like a big.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because in a way, Rogan is maybe a little more well known for some reason than Franco. Because
in the comedic area, right?
Yeah. Well, Franco has a kind of there's a number of actors that kind of look like him in some ways, like Ethan Hawke is an example. Whereas Rogan, you could spot that guy a mile away.
And you can count on him to be almost naked in any film he has. He has no problem showing how portly and schlubby he is.
And hairy,
I know.
like the North Korean woman, when they're making love. Oh, you're so hairy.
Well, you can tell that you and I have worked in collegiate environments since we're still getting titillated by all this low-rent humor.
Right.
And the point of this is, go into the movie not expecting much. And if you don't, then you will be entertained.
Yes.
Now, is there any political satire in here that's of any substance at all?
I don't. If it is, it's maybe about what the U.S. will do to take out a dictator. Killing somebody. Almost these were kind of like the double O's of the James Bond. License to Kill.
Yeah.
And so I think of anything that may bring up.
You're right.
Like
kind
that.
of along with that, it's the extremes. Along with that, I think it shows that the U.S. in some ways is almost as bad as North Korea in some of its activities, talking about what it would do to take somebody out. So while it isn't as bad, and in the course of the interview, after all, this is what it's about, the TV host interviews the president. There is also a suggestion about how many people in that 24 million people world are starving.
Yes. Yeah.
It does zing in some political notions about it.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. And of course, a comedy like this, you have to put all reality to the side and just go with the laughs. But you're right, and it does bring up something dealing with the suffering that these people are obviously going through, and how much of this is real. You know, how they love the dear leaders that they've had. This is the
Yes.
third generation of dear leaders that they
Yes.
would worship. So you wonder, you know, how much of that is really true, but also obviously the suffering that the people are going through.
And I agree with you. There's something about the duplicitous nature of politicians and of countries, and you know, who's speaking the truth and who's not. And just watch in the beginning of this film how seductive Randall Park makes
Yes.
that
Yep.
character, so that we can understand how the boys are seduced.
Yes.
But then those boys are easily seduced.
By everybody and anything.
However, as immature as you and I are,
Yes.
now and then we're asked.
We have to grade it.
We have
We
to
have
grade.
to. You want me to go first?
I would like you to go first.
I'm gonna give it a C plus, and a plus for that one line that I'm going to remember. They hate us because they ain't us.
That's right. That is such a good line. Yeah. And I'm going to offer it a B because anytime I can laugh at a comedy, and
Yeah.
I am tough on comedies.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know that you're not going to be wasting your time. It's not a great film, but it's become culturally iconic.
Yes, it is. And
In a
this will
matter
be
of-
something that'll be in the history books about how the cyber attacks, you know, can really bring down a large movie studio.
Wayne Miller, the
John
movie
DeSando.
was they called, and
The
I
interview.
think you
Yeah.
and I should go over
Yeah.
and interview the president.
I think so too.